The brochure lands on the mahogany desk with a soft thud that somehow fills my father's entire study. Glossy paper. Smiling teenagers climbing rock walls under a blinding desert sun. Sunrise Wilderness Therapy, where troubled teens find their path. I stare at it, my hands frozen at my sides. Monday morning, Richard says, his voice terrifyingly calm. He leans back in his leather chair, fingers steepled. You'll go to Principal Abernathy's office and confess to hacking the school portal. You'll take responsibility for changing Holden's AP history grade. My stomach twists. I didn't. Or, he continues, like I haven't spoken at all. Tuesday morning at 2 a.m., 2 very professional transporters will arrive at your bedroom door. They have keys. They have authorization. And they will take you to Utah whether you're awake or not. The room tilts. I grip the edge of his desk, my knuckles white against the dark wood. You can't, I whisper. I can. He slides a packet of papers toward me. Legal documents. Authorization forms. All signed, all dated. You're a minor, Marin. I'm your father. The law is very clear about what I can do. My throat closes. This morning I was fixing the router in the hallway, hoping he'd notice, hoping he'd say something like, good work, or, thanks, sweetheart. Instead, I'd overheard him in here with Catherine, their voices low and urgent. 100% plagiarism flag. My mother had said, Yale's recruitment office will see it. Holden can't afford this. Not with the lacrosse scholarship on the line. I'd pressed myself against the wall, listening to them discuss my brother's AP history final, like it was a corporate crisis. Which, I suppose, to them, it was. Holden Wright, star athlete, future Yale legacy, caught cheating, their golden child tarnished. And somehow, that became my problem. I have early acceptance to Stanford. I say now, hating how small my voice sounds. I have a 4 gigapascals. I've never even had detention. Richard waves this away like he's swatting a fly. None of that matters if you can't be a team player, Marin. This family has a legacy. Your brother's future is at stake. My future is irrelevant. He stands, buttoning his suit jacket. Holden is an athlete. He brings value. You? His eyes sweep over me, cold and assessing. You fix computers. That's not a legacy. That's a hobby. The words land like a slap. I've spent 17 years trying to be useful to these people. Fixing their devices, troubleshooting their network, managing their passwords. Always hoping that if I just made myself indispensable enough, they'd finally see me. But standing here, watching my father look at me like I'm a line item to be managed, I understand. I was never their daughter. I was always just a resource. I won't do it, I say. Catherine appears in the doorway, perfectly dressed as always, her country club pearls gleaming. Richard, is everything settled? Not quite. He nods toward me. Our daughter is being difficult. She sighs, the same exasperated sound she makes when the caterers arrive late. Marin, honey, just do what your father says. It's one little confession. You'll be fine. I'll have a criminal record. Oh, don't be dramatic. She examines her manicured nails. It's a school matter. It'll go away. But Holden's plagiarism won't. That's the point. I take the fall. He stays clean. Yale never knows. The Wright family machine keeps running smoothly. Monday morning, Richard repeats. Principal Abernathy is expecting you at 8 a.m. He's already arranged it. Of course he has. This was never a discussion. This was a notification. And if I refuse? He picks up his phone, shows me the screen. A contact labeled, Sunrise Transport Services. His thumb hovers over the call button. I have their 24-hour line, he says quietly. They can be here in 6 hours if needed. But I'd rather you chose the sensible option. My legs feel weak. The study seems to shrink around me. All dark wood and expensive leather and the faint smell of his cologne. A prison dressed up as success. I need to think. I manage. You have until Monday. He sets the phone down. I suggest you think quickly. I turn toward the door, but his voice stops me. Oh, and Marin? I'll be keeping your laptop and phone until this is resolved, just to ensure you don't do anything foolish. He holds out his hand. Waiting. I pull my phone from my pocket with shaking fingers. Hand it over. He plucks my laptop bag from where I'd set it by the door. Go to your room, Catherine says, not unkindly. Like she's talking to a child who needs a timeout, not a teenager being blackmailed by her own parents. Get some rest, you'll feel better in the morning. I climb the stairs on autopilot. Hear the lock click behind me when I reach my bedroom, the sound of my door being secured from the outside. I press my palms against the wood, my forehead resting on the cool surface. Please, I whisper, hating myself for it. After everything I've done for you. No answer. Just footsteps retreating down the hallway. I sink to the floor, still hoping they'll come back. Still hoping this is some kind of test that I can pass if I just find the right answer. Still seeking their love, even now. Especially now. Saturday light filters through my bedroom curtains, weak and gray. I've been trapped here for 14 hours now. My stomach aches from skipping dinner, but the nausea wins every time I think about eating the granola bar. Catherine slid under my door this morning. I pull myself off the bed and walk to my bookshelf. Third shelf from the top, wedged between my AP chemistry textbook and last year's yearbook. My fingers find the hollow space I carved out months ago. The burner phone is exactly where I left it. Emergency device. That's what I told myself when I bought it with cash from my bug bounties, just in case. I never imagined the emergency would be my own parents. The screen glows to life. One contact saved. Mrs. Vance. I type fast, thumbs shaking. Need help. Locked in. Can you access school server? Check Holden's AP history final. The response comes in 40 seconds. On it. Stay calm. I pace the room while I wait. 6 steps to the window. 6 steps back. My mind runs calculations, probabilities, escape routes. But every scenario dead ends at the same problem. I'm 17. Legally, they own me. 10 minutes pass. Then, oh my God, Marin. My heart stutters. What did you find? Plagiarism confirmed. Essay purchased from Academic Mill. But there's more. Checking the document header now. I sit on the edge of my bed, phone gripped so tight my fingers ache. The house is quiet except for the occasional creak of floorboards below. Richard and Catherine moving through their Saturday routines like nothing is wrong. Like they didn't just threaten to have me kidnapped. The phone buzzes. I found the forwarding chain in the file metadata. The receipt was emailed to r.wright@wrightassociates.com. I read it 3 times. Not just academic dishonesty. Corporate fraud. Richard used his work email to facilitate the transaction. He likely expensed it. My father didn't just fail Holden. He committed embezzlement to cover it up. The room seems to tilt. I press my palm against the wall, steadying myself. This is bigger than a plagiarism scandal. This is criminal. Federal charges. Prison time. Another buzz. Are you safe? Should I call someone? I want to say yes. Want to tell her to call the police. Call anyone. But I know how this plays out. Richard has lawyers. He has money. He has a network of people at the country club who owe him favors. And I have nothing except this phone and a teacher who cares. Not yet, I type. Need more time. Downstairs, I hear Richard's voice. Muffled through the floor, but I catch fragments. Tuesday morning. Confirmed. 2 a.m. Pickup. He's talking to them, the transporters, making it real. Something shifts inside my chest. Not fear anymore. Something colder, sharper. I stop crying. Just stop. The tears dry up like someone turned off a faucet. Because I finally understand. There is no earning my way out of this. No amount of usefulness will make them love me. I could fix every computer, solve every problem, sacrifice everything, and it would never be enough. They don't see a daughter. They see a tool. And when a tool stops being useful, you discard it. I stand and walk to the heating vent in the corner of my room. The screws come out easily. I've practiced this. Behind the metal grate, tucked into the ductwork, is a small USB drive. Cold wallet. $5,000 in cryptocurrency from 3 years of bug bounties. My escape fund. I power up my old tablet, the one Richard doesn't know about, hidden in my closet behind winter coats. Connect the USB. My hands are steady now. Clinical. The cryptocurrency exchanges to a prepaid Visa in 17 minutes. I watch the progress bar fill, thinking about all those nights I spent hunting vulnerabilities in corporate systems. All those reward payments I saved instead of spent. I was preparing for this without knowing it. Can you set up a trap? I text Mrs. Vance. On the school server? What kind of trap? The kind that deploys evidence when triggered. The email logs. The fraud. Can you do it? 3 dots appear. Disappear. Appear again. Yes. But Marin, this will destroy him. My finger hovers over the keyboard. I think about my father's face when he handed me that brochure. The cold certainty in his voice. The way he looked at me like I was already gone. Good. I type back. Catherine's footsteps on the stairs. I shove the phone under my pillow, hide the tablet under my mattress. She unlocks my door, edges it open. Carries a tray with a sandwich and apple slices. You should eat something, she says, not meeting my eyes. She sets the tray on my desk and turns to leave. Mom. She pauses, hand on the doorframe. Why are you doing this? She looks at me then. Really looks. And for half a second I see something flicker across her face. Guilt, maybe. Or shame. But then it's gone. Your brother needs this, she says quietly. The family needs this. And what do I need? She doesn't answer. Just closes the door, locks it. I listen to her footsteps fade. Retrieve the phone from under my pillow. Trap armed. Mrs. Vance texts. Payload ready to deploy on command. Are you sure about this? I look around my room. At the trophies from academic competitions Richard never attended. The certificates from coding camps Catherine never asked about. The Stanford acceptance letter pinned to my bulletin board that they dismissed as irrelevant. This was never my home. These were never my parents. They're captors, and I'm done being their prisoner. I'm sure, I type. Let's end this. On Sunday night, the country club's crystal chandeliers throw fractured light across white tablecloths, making everything look sharp and expensive. I smooth my navy dress, Catherine's choice, not mine, and force my face into something neutral. Blank. The expression I've practiced in the mirror for the last hour. Richard has his hand on my elbow, guiding me. To anyone watching, it probably looks protective, fatherly. But his fingers dig into the soft spot just above my bone. A private reminder that I'm here because he allows it. Smile. Marin, he murmurs as we approach the Haversham table. You look like someone died. Not yet, I think, but give it until Monday. The Havershams rise to greet us. Mrs. Haversham in pearls, Mr. Haversham in his Yale reunion tie. Their daughter is at Princeton, I remember. Catherine made sure I knew that. As if I needed another reminder of what legacy looks like when parents actually invest in it. Richard. Catherine. Misuse. Haversham air kisses my mother. And Marin, dear. You look so grown up. I smile. Say thank you. Let them talk around me while I catalog exits. The main doors behind us. The terrace to my right. The service hallway near the kitchen. Old habits. Always know where the doors are. And where's that handsome brother of yours? Mrs. Haversham asks. Holden's finishing up lacrosse practice, Richard says, his voice warm with pride. The same voice that, 2 days ago, threatened me with kidnappers in the middle of the night. Yale's been very interested in his performance this season. Oh, how wonderful. You must be so proud. Catherine beams. We certainly are. He's worked so hard. I press my lips together. Holden's hard work consists of hiring someone to write his essays and charming teachers into extending deadlines. But sure, let's celebrate that. Richard's hand tightens on my elbow. Warning. I keep smiling. Well, we should find our table, Catherine says. Lovely to see you both. We move through the dining room like we're on parade. Richard stops every few feet to shake hands, clap shoulders, laugh at jokes I can't hear over the blood rushing in my ears. Catherine floats beside him, perfect in her silk blouse and country club politics. I am wallpaper. Furniture. The daughter who exists to make them look complete. Our table is near the windows. Holden arrives 15 minutes late, his hair still damp from the shower, smelling like expensive body spray. He drops into his chair with the easy confidence of someone who's never been locked in his bedroom. Traffic was crazy, he says, though we all know he just didn't care about being on time. You're here now, that's what matters. Catherine passes him a menu. The salmon is supposed to be excellent tonight. I study my own menu without reading it. My clutch sits in my lap, small and black and unremarkable. Inside, lipstick, emergency $20, and the burner phone wrapped in a scarf to muffle any vibration. Across the table, Richard leans toward the Caldwells. His voice carries just enough for nearby tables to overhear. Marin's been under a lot of stress lately, he says like he's confiding something difficult. Her Stanford acceptance has been wonderful, of course, But sometimes brilliant kids put too much pressure on themselves. Mrs. Caldwell makes a sympathetic sound. We've actually been discussing a therapeutic break. Richard continues. Somewhere she can disconnect. Reset. The teenage years can be so overwhelming. My hands clench around the menu. He's doing it. Pre-spinning my disappearance. Planting the story so that when I vanish Tuesday morning, everyone will nod and say, oh yes, poor thing, she needed help. That sounds very wise, Mr. Caldwell says. Our nephew did something similar, came back a different person. I'll bet he did, I think. 3 months in the Utah desert with no contact will change anyone. Catherine touches my hand. Sweetheart, are you all right? You look pale. I'm fine. My voice sounds far away. Just tired. Maybe you should visit the ladies' room, she suggests. Translation. Go fix your face, you're embarrassing us. I stand. Take my clutch. Walk toward the hallway near the restrooms, my heels clicking against marble. The hallway is quiet. Dim. I slip into the single-stall bathroom and lock the door behind me. My hands shake as I pull out the burner phone. I've kept it on silent since yesterday, checking it only when I'm certain I'm alone. Now I thumb it on. The screen glows pale in the fancy bathroom lighting. One new message, Mrs. Vance, payload armed, 2 words, that's all. But my chest loosens for the first time since we arrived. The trap is set, the server script is loaded, the evidence is compiled and queued. Tomorrow morning, when I walk into that building, I won't be defenseless. I'll be the one holding the trigger. I delete the message, power down the phone, wrap it back in the scarf, and tuck it into my clutch. When I return to the table, Holden is telling some story about lacrosse practice. Something about a goal he scored, a play he made. Richard laughs, genuinely delighted. That's my boy, he says. I sit down, pick up my water glass. Let the conversation flow around me. Dinner arrives. Salmon for Catherine, steak for Richard, pasta for Holden. I ordered soup because it's hard to look like you're eating when you can barely swallow. You should eat more than that, Catherine says quietly. You're getting too thin. I take a spoonful. It tastes like nothing. After dinner, Richard excuses himself to smoke cigars with the Haversham men. Catherine drifts toward the bar to gossip with the tennis ladies. Holden heads for the lobby, probably to flirt with the hostess. I follow him, not because I want to, because I need to. He's leaning against the coat check counter, scrolling through his phone. Smirking at something. Holden. He looks up, the smirk widens. Hey, sis. You surviving? Barely. Yeah, well. He pockets his phone. Maybe next time don't make things so complicated. Just take the hit for the team, you know? Something in my chest goes very cold. I look at him. Really look at him. This person who shares my DNA, my last name, my home. This stranger who thinks my future is a reasonable sacrifice for his convenience. And I feel nothing. Not anger. Not hurt. Just a distant clinical observation. He is not my brother. He's a symptom of the disease that is this family. You're right, I say quietly. I should have made things simpler. He blinks, surprised. Oh, well, good. See you at home. I walk back toward the dining room, but I don't feel afraid anymore. I feel clear, focused. They're at the table when I return, Richard and Catherine discussing golf schedules. They look up when I approach. Feeling better? Catherine asks. Much better. I meet Richard's eyes. Let him see the daughter who's learned her place. The one who understands the family comes first. Don't worry, Dad. I'll handle everything tomorrow. Something in his face relaxes. Victory. He thinks I'm giving in, accepting my role. Good girl, he says. I knew you'd see reason. I smile. It feels cold on my face. Precise. I always do. Later, in the car ride home, I watch the streetlights blur past my window. Catherine hums along to classical radio. Richard drives with one hand, relaxed and confident. They think they've won. They have no idea what Monday morning will bring. No idea that while they were parading Holden around, I was confirming the weapon that will dismantle everything they've built. Tomorrow will determine everything. The trap is set. All I have to do is spring it. Monday morning, I dress in my Sterling Hall uniform with hands that barely shake, button the blazer, straighten the tie, check my reflection in the mirror, and practice the expression I need. Broken. Defeated. A girl who knows she's lost. It's not hard. I've worn this face before. The real trick is remembering it's a costume now. Downstairs, the kitchen smells like Catherine's French press coffee, and the expensive bread she orders from that bakery in Greenwich. Normal morning sounds. Richard reading something on his tablet. Holden crunching cereal like he doesn't have a care in the world. Because he doesn't. Not anymore. I'm taking care of everything. I clutch my school bag against my chest as I enter, letting my shoulders curl inward, make myself small. The broken burner phone sits right on top, waiting to be found. The perfect decoy. Catherine glances up from her coffee, and I catch the flash of relief in her eyes. She thinks I've accepted my fate. Good. Morning, I mumble, heading for the door. Wait. Richard's voice stops me cold. He sets down his tablet, his eyes sharp. Suspicious. What's in the bag? My pulse spikes, but I've planned for this. I pull the bag tighter, take a half step back. Just school stuff. Show me. Dad, I need to. Now, Marin? I let my eyes fill with tears. Real ones. Because some part of me is still terrified. Still that girl banging on her bedroom door. Please. It's nothing. I just want to go. He stands, crosses the kitchen in 3 strides. Holden stops chewing to watch. Catherine sets down her coffee cup. Give it here, Richard says, hand extended. I clutch it harder. And that's the key. The resistance. If I'd handed it over easily, he might have suspected. But this desperate, futile defiance? This is what he expects from me. No, I whisper. Please, just let me have this one thing. He rips the bag from my hands. I stumble backward, bumping into the counter. Watch him unzip it roughly, dump the contents onto the kitchen island. Textbooks, folders, a calculator. And there, sliding across the granite, my burner phone. Richard picks it up slowly. Turns it over in his hands. Well, he says softly. What do we have here? It's nothing, I say, voice breaking. I just needed a way to... To what? Coordinate your little schemes? He holds it up to the light like it's evidence in a trial. Which I suppose it is. Were you planning to call someone? Your teacher friend, maybe? Get her to help you run away? No, I wasn't going to ton. Enough. He drops the phone on the tile floor, raises his foot. Dad, wait. The screen shatters under his heel. He grinds it down, plastic cracking, glass splintering across the kitchen. When he lifts his shoe, the phone is in pieces, completely destroyed. Catherine exhales, actually sighs with relief. Thank God, Richard. I was so worried she'd try something foolish. Holden laughs, mouth full of cereal. Guess you're really alone now, huh? No phone, no friends, no way out. I stare at the broken pieces. Let my breathing hitch. Once, twice. Let my hands shake. Then they all look away. Turn back to their coffee, their cereal, their tablets. And in that moment, when their attention shifts, I let my breathing steady, just for 3 seconds, just long enough to remember, this was the plan. I needed them to find the phone. Disgay. Needed them to destroy it. Needed them so drunk on their own victory that they'd never suspect the real trap. The one already armed in the cloud. The one that doesn't need my device. Any terminal connected to the school network will do. I just need 10 seconds at a keyboard. Get your things, Richard says, checking his watch. We're leaving in 5 minutes. I gather my books with trembling fingers, shoving them back into my bag. The burner phone stays where it is, a sacrifice on the altar of their arrogance. Worth it. Every piece. The drive to Sterling Hall Academy feels longer than usual. Richard drives, Catherine in the passenger seat. Both of them relaxed now, celebrating. This is for the best, sweetheart, Catherine says, twisting to look at me in the back seat. You'll see. Once this is all settled, everything will go back to normal. Normal. Like there was ever anything normal about this family. Principal Abernathy has the confession letter ready, Richard adds. His eyes meet mine in the rearview mirror. You sign it, we submit it to the school board, and this whole mess goes away. Holden keeps his scholarship. The family reputation stays intact. And me? I ask quietly. You'll learn an important lesson about loyalty. The Sterling Hall campus appears through the morning fog, all brick buildings and manicured lawns. Students walking to class with their coffee cups and backpacks, completely unaware that in about 15 minutes, everything is going to change. Richard parks in the visitor lot, closer to the administrative building, more convenient for their purposes. We walk across campus like I'm being escorted to my execution. Richard on one side, Catherine on the other. A prisoner between her guards. Students stare. Some whisper. They all know who the Wrights are. Holden's family, the ones with the money and the connections and the country club memberships. No one asks if I'm okay. The administrative building smells like floor polish and old paper. Principal Abernathy's office is at the end of the hall, door already open, waiting for us. He stands when we enter, extending his hand to Richard. Mr. Wright. Mrs. Wright. Then, barely glancing at me, Maren. Gerald? Richard says, shaking firmly. First names. Of course they're on a first-name basis. Thank you for accommodating us this morning. Anything for Sterling Hall's most generous donors. Abernathy gestures to the chairs. Please, sit. Richard and Catherine take the leather chairs facing the desk. I'm left standing until Abernathy points to a smaller chair off to the side. The student chair. The one positioned lower than everyone else's. I sit. Now then. Abernathy pulls out a folder, opens it to reveal a typed document. This is the confession we discussed. It outlines how you, Maren, accessed the school portal, using your computer science knowledge to alter your brother's grade. Very straightforward. You sign here, we file it with the disciplinary committee, and the matter is resolved. He slides the paper toward me. A pen rests on top. 3 predators surrounding me. Richard to my left, leaning forward slightly. Catherine to my right, hands folded in her lap. Abernathy behind his desk, already reaching for his official stamp. No phone, no visible help. No way out that they can see. But I don't need any of those things. Because the trap isn't in my hands. It never was. It's in the cloud, armed and ready, waiting for one single command. I look at the confession letter, at the pen, at their expectant faces. I stare at the words swimming on the page. I, Maren Wright, confess to unauthorized access of the Sterling Hall Academy student portal. Richard stands behind Abernathy's chair, arms crossed. Catherine perches on the leather sofa by the window, hands folded in her lap like she's waiting for a tennis match to start. Through the glass panel in the door, I can see Holden leaning against the hallway wall, that smug smile playing at the corners of his mouth. 3 predators in this room, one waiting outside. And me, supposedly powerless. Maren. Richard's voice carries that edge I've learned to fear, the one that means his patience is gone. Sign the paper. My hand trembles as I reach for the pen. Let them see the shake. Let them think I'm still that girl who banged on her bedroom door, begging for mercy that would never come. I pick up the pen. Hold it over the signature line. Then I set it down. I need to upload the original file. I say, my voice small and broken, to make it more legally binding. The one from my laptop. It's still on the school server. Richard frowns. What are you talking about? The hack. I look up at him with wide, desperate eyes. The performance of a lifetime. If I'm confessing, shouldn't there be proof? Real documentation? Otherwise, it's just my word against. I let my voice trail off, like I'm too scared to finish. Abernathy glances at Richard. She has a point. If there's evidence of the breach, it would make the confession more airtight. There is no evidence, Richard says sharply. Because she didn't actually do it. But if someone asks questions later, I whisper, if Stanford finds out, they'll want proof that it was me, and not. I swallow hard, not someone else. The bait dangles. Richard's eyes narrow, calculating. He wants this buried deep, wants every possible angle covered. His corporate instincts kick in. Always get it in writing. Always document the fall guy. Fine. He nods toward the desk. Make it quick. Abernathy stands abruptly, smoothing his suit jacket as he steps aside to give me access. My heart hammers, but I keep my breathing shallow and quick. Terrified child. Compliant victim. I slide into the leather chair, still warm from him, and my fingers find the keyboard. The muscle memory takes over. A single command line, typed so fast it barely registers. Enter. The wall monitor behind Abernathy's desk flares red. Richard steps forward. What did you? The screen erupts with text. Forensic logs scrolling in real time, white text on crimson background, IP addresses, timestamps, access records. And there, in bold letters at the top, evidence of academic fraud. What is this? Abernathy reaches over my shoulder, clawing for the mouse, but nothing responds. The screen keeps scrolling. Holden's student ID number. The AP History Final. The 100% plagiarism flag. Then the email chain appears. The forward from Holden. The response from Richard. The attached expense report submitted to Wright and Associates Financial Group. Catherine makes a small sound, like air escaping from a punctured tire. Turn it off, Richard says, his voice deadly quiet. I can't. Abernathy is clicking frantically. It's not responding. I don't. The printer starts. That horrible grinding sound as it wakes up, and then paper begins spewing out. Page after page of evidence. The logs, the emails. The internal expense report proving that Richard Wright paid for his son's cheating using company funds. Company funds. The screen updates with new text. Copies of this evidence have been automatically distributed to the following recipients. The list appears, line by line. Ivy League Athletic Commission, Sterling Hall Academy School Board, Hartford Courier Press, Connecticut Attorney General's Office, IRS Criminal Investigation Division. Richard's face goes white. Not pale, white, the color of bone. You little... He reaches for the computer, but the monitor goes black. The printer falls silent. 15 pages scattered across Abernathy's desk, across the floor, perfect copies of his fraud laid out like playing cards. Someone is knocking on the door. Hard, urgent knocking. Abernathy opens it with shaking hands. A security officer stands there, and behind him, a man in an expensive suit I recognize from Wright family dinners. School Board Chairman Wallace. Richard. Wallace's voice is ice. I just received a very interesting email. This is a misunderstanding. Richard starts, but Wallace holds up his phone. Embezzlement of corporate funds for personal use, fraud, bribery of a school official. He looks at Abernathy, who has gone gray. We need to have several conversations, starting now. The security officer steps into the room. Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you to come with me. You can't be serious. Richard's voice cracks. Do you know who I am? I know exactly who you are. Wallace's expression is granite. That's why this is going to be handled by the book. Officer, please escort Mr. Wright to the security office. Someone from the school board's legal team is already on their way. Richard turns to me, finally sees me, really sees me. I stand up from Abernathy's chair, and I don't look away. Don't blink. Don't apologize. His reputation is burning in real time. Every email recipient reading the evidence, the IRS flagging his account. Yale's recruitment office adding Holden to their permanent blacklist. The country club members Catherine cares so much about forwarding the Hartford Courier article to each other over morning coffee. Everything he built, everything he valued, every reason he thought he could threaten me. Ash. Marin. Catherine finds her voice, thin and desperate. Tell them this is a mistake. Tell them. I pick up my bag, walk toward the door. Marin, please. I pause in the doorway. Look back at them one last time. Richard, being guided out by security, his perfect suit suddenly looking cheap. Catherine frozen on the sofa, her country club pearls catching the light. Abernathy, holding the evidence papers with trembling hands. And through the window, Holden's face pressed against the glass, smile finally gone. I don't say anything. Don't need to. The evidence spoke for me. I walk down the hallway, past lockers and classrooms and students who don't know yet that their school just imploded, past Mrs. Vance's computer science lab, where I catch a glimpse of her at her desk. She gives me the smallest nod. The front doors open. Sunlight hits my face. I step outside and keep walking. No looking back. No waiting for approval. Just air. Just freedom. Just me. The notification chimes on my laptop, and I glance up from the penthouse window where San Francisco Bay spreads out in endless blue. 7 years since that Monday morning in Principal Abernathy's office, and the sound of an incoming message still makes my shoulders tense for half a second before my brain catches up. Old habits. But this isn't a threat. It's a video message from the scholarship fund I established 3 years ago. A girl named Emma, maybe 16, records herself in what looks like a college dorm room. Her voice shakes slightly as she thanks me for the grant that helped her leave her toxic family situation and finish high school independently. "I never thought I'd make it here," she says to the camera, "but someone believed kids like us deserved a chance." I close the laptop gently. Same device type that once represented my cage. Different context entirely. The coffee shop where I'm meeting Mrs. Vance is a 10-minute walk from my building. She's already there when I arrive, her gray hair shorter now, but her smile exactly as I remember it. We hug like the friends we've become, though she'll always be the teacher who saved my life. 7 years, she says, settling into her chair. "Look at you." I don't need to look. I know what she sees. The quiet confidence of someone who built her own definition of worth from scratch. No expensive clothes trying to prove anything. No desperate energy seeking approval, just steady ground under my feet. The fund hit 50 recipients this month. I tell her, "You're giving them what we gave you. A way out." She stirs her coffee slowly. "Have you heard from them? Your family?" The question doesn't sting anymore. Richard's still in federal prison. Fraud and embezzlement carried a longer sentence than he expected. Catherine burned through whatever money he'd hidden. Last I heard, she's been banned from every country club in Connecticut. And Holden? Working retail. No Yale, no lacrosse career, no immunity. I take a sip of my coffee. Turns out being the golden child doesn't mean much when the gold was always fake. Mrs. Vance nods, understanding that I'm not gloating. Just stating facts. The wreckage they created for themselves after I walked away. Later, I take Justice to the beach. He's a rescue mutt, lean and scarred, with one ear that doesn't quite stand upright. We found each other 2 years ago, both of us knowing what it meant to survive something that should have broken us. My phone buzzes. Visual voicemail. Catherine's name on the screen. I stop walking, Justice sitting patiently beside me while I stare at the notification. My finger hovers over the play button. 7 years ago, I would have listened immediately, that old instinct to be useful flaring up despite everything. But I'm not that girl anymore. I don't press play. I don't even feel curious about what she wants. The desperation in her voice would be obvious even without hearing it. Probably money, probably framed as a mother's rightful due from her daughter. I delete the message. No anger, no triumph, just peace. Justice leans against my leg, and I scratch behind his good ear. The ocean stretches out in front of us, salt air filling my lungs. Free air. Air I chose. We walk along the shoreline, my phone silent in my pocket, my shoulders loose. Somewhere behind me is a woman who gave birth to me but never saw my value. Somewhere ahead is a life I architected from nothing but my own spine, and a teacher's belief that I deserved better. The silence between us isn't imprisonment anymore. It's choice. I breathe deep, and Justice matches my pace, and we walk until the sun starts sinking toward the water. No looking back. No waiting for approval that will never come. Just forward. Always forward.